Welcome to another Todd's
2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday.
Brought to you by the National RV Training Academy, the largest hands-on RV training academy in America. Hey, before we get to the video, which I know this is the reason why you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Hit the subscribe button now. Thank you. Now, back to our Tech Tip Tuesday. Hey, this week I'm going to go ahead and answer 2 more of your questions, and so here we go. Coolest name ever. Sweet Baby Freezes. Hey, Todd. Love the beard. Done. And the videos. Yeah, secondary thought. My wife and I are full-timers, and we are currently in the area where it gets frequent high wind gusts. I'm talking 50 to 60 miles wind gust a few times a week. The wind is blowing right into the direction, and the AC, while the AC is running, and the wind is blowing through the plenum, and it causes the fan blades to spin the opposite direction. Holy cow. And it spins so fast that when the AC kicks on, the fan will continue to spin in the wrong direction, right? Because its momentum's already going. All right. The fan motor is not strong enough to change the direction the wind is blowing, which means the AC is not pulling air through the evaporator, and it freezes. And this happens mostly when we're at work. We have 2 dogs at home. We came home one day, and it was 83 degrees in the rig. Is there anything you can think of to prevent this from happening besides moving? All right, so apparently you know me. All right, something that will give us some peace of mind while we're at work. This one's interesting because there's nothing normal that's going to fix this. All right, so it doesn't matter whether you're pointed north or south or east or west, right? You have air going across so fast, it's going through the plenum, right? Now, when people talk about the plenum, it's really not the plenum because the plenum's going to be up front, and that's for your evaporator, the air you're breathing. I'm assuming you are talking about the fan going across the condenser coils, and we're not cooling down the evaporator. Now, if you're talking about the plenum up front, the plenum itself for the evaporator coils should be completely covered. That's what the plenum is. It covers and blocks the outside air from the inside air. So I'm going to challenge you on that because the plenum itself is completely covered, right? The air you breathe, the cold air coming from the air conditioners, has an upper plenum. Of course, you get a lower plenum. The upper plenum, in the case of a roof-mounted air conditioner, is covered. If you got a Dometic, it's going to be, some type of styrofoam plastic. If it's going to be a Coleman, it's going to be metal, right? Boom, there you go. I'm thinking you're talking about the exposed fan going across your condenser coils. Okay, now this is what actually takes the hot freon and tries to pull that air out. Okay, now you're saying there's freezing taking place, and you think it's because of the wind. Okay, now the freezing taking place is the lack of air going across those coils, or the lack of humidity being drawn away, right? You got too much humidity showing up, so you got low fan speed. Okay, in either case, I'm going to answer this in 2 different ways. Assuming it's not the plenum, right? Again, the guard that goes across your evaporator coils. Let's say it's the condenser coils, okay? What I'm unsure of is, will that still cause your evaporator coils from freezing, okay? Let's say it's that. It's causing that exposed fan. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? It's the same shaft. Looky here. Okay, so this is what's going on. Yes, okay, it's both. All right, so what you have is, you probably do have a Dometic or something like that where you have a single fan motor, but it's got 2 shafts, right? One that goes into the evaporator coils and one that goes to the condenser coils. The fan that's going to the condenser coils is affected by the wind going across, right? Which also affects the evaporator coils. Ha! You're right, and so am I. So there we go. All right, so here's the thing. We want to block the air, not going through the plenum, but it's hitting that continuous shaft it's going through, right? And it's turning your blades the opposite way, right? Yeah, so that way it can't overcome that. The thought would be, right, and this is just me thinking, short of moving, we need to put something on the outer sides of the air conditioner unit itself, right, that helps block the air, rigid enough to where it doesn't get blown over, heavy enough that it doesn't get taken off like a kite, okay? But it would be some type of air dam that you would have to create. Here I'm holding paper, so what I'm thinking of, you're going to laugh at this, right? But some type of either kite material that we can kind of put an angle. You still need air to go in to allow the air, fan to actually go through the condenser coils, right? I need air to go in, need air to go out. What I want to do is block the wind. So I got to give a larger section, but have some type of air dam, whether it's going to be a kite type material where the air can just right over it, or what if you were to take some, I hate to say this, plywood, cut that up 2 foot tall on either side, have a couple 2x4s going across, build a frame, right? Put maybe those pool noodles on the bottom so it doesn't scratch up the RV. Okay, think this through. Nothing on top so it doesn't become a kite, but basically you're blocking the wind from the left-right motion, right, where it can go in and affect that fan. Ooh, all right. So one of those two, short of moving, and I get it, you're not RVing right, it's probably location specific to your job, something like that. That's a tough one, right? But you need something to help block the air, and that's what I'm thinking. Talking through it, yes, the condenser fan is more than likely attached to the evaporator coil fan, and so therefore your squirrel cage fan not spinning fast enough. Short of also checking the capacitor to make sure the capacitor is sending out the correct microfarads to give that a kick in the pants. But you're totally right. There's only so much that's coming out, and if that fan is spinning backwards, there's not enough torque to kick it back the other way. What if you turn the RV the opposite way? So that way it's blowing with the fan blades and spinning the right direction. Good one, interesting one, okay? Not a standard answer, but not a standard question, okay? Good luck. Because I know some of you are gonna respond, well, if you do this, Todd, then this is gonna happen. Maybe totally true, okay? How do I secure that air dam up there to the RV without putting more holes and everything else? And that's where weight comes in. Well, now I'm putting weight on that RV, in that specific area. This is why I was saying pull noodles underneath or something like that. Or instead of a solid wall, if we were just to get it to, move up and over, maybe at a 45 or something like that. I don't know. Tell me what your thoughts. Actually, if you're watching this and you go, Todd, the answer's simple, put it in the comments. Let's look at the next question. All right, this is from Stu Pedasso. Stu Pedasso. Todd, thank you for all the different topics you cover to help us out. Very much appreciated. All right, your videos and knowledge are priceless. Man, I like to tell people that. No, really, we pay nothing for it. Yes, I get it. Ha 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 ha. Good joke, right? It's better than useless. All right, here we go. We have a pretty big battery bank relative to my solar panel, 600 amp hours. That's like 2 of my batteries, but okay. All right, 600 amp hours of batteries, but you only have an 800 watts of solar, okay? So let's look at it this way. For some of you that don't quite understand what he's saying, 100 amp hours at 12 volts is 1200 watts, right? He's got 6 of those, so he's around 7200 watts, something of that nature. I mean, he's only getting about 800 watts in a day, so you're looking at, okay, you need a whole day to charge them back up, plus some. My demand exceeds the panel's output a little bit every day, and so I'll run the gas generator or plug in to top off when needed every 4 to 6 hours. Every 4 to 6 days. And I apologize, every 4 to 6 days. Can I tell you, almost every solid solar build needs to have a backup generator for this purpose here. That's my thought. But my question is, does not fully recharging the lithium battery regularly have consequences? Shorten the life, reduce the total output. Thanks, Beard Man. Depends on the battery. Okay, now here's the thing. If you were to crack open a lithium battery, it's almost like cracking open a flashlight. You got 3 or 4 individual batteries inside there. With the lithium battery, 4 individual cells. If it's a LiFePO battery, lithium iron phosphate. And each one of those, again, has its own internal resistance. Depending on the battery manufacturer, they would try and match those up to be as close as possible. And if I can get them as close as possible, then the chances of them staying even, charging up at the same time and discharging at the same time, would be relatively good. You go to your local Sam's Club or something like that, and you buy your low-cost, low-value batteries. They're just going to throw stuff in there, right? Well, these didn't sell, so we're going to grab this cell with an internal resistance of 0.04, and we'll match it up with this one that's 0.09. right? So what's going to happen is internal resistance slows down the flow of electricity in or out. So the one with the higher internal resistance, okay, you're going to get less out of it and it's going to charge less. So the batteries, the cells get out of balance. Top charging is what you're asking about. That helps, when you're plugged into shore power or the generator, or you got enough sun strike to exceed your demand, that helps get that balance taken care of. And your question is as well, if I'm not top balancing, right, and I don't have the right batteries, is that going to have long-term consequences? Yes. Whatever cell is going to be the lowest, right, as you continue to use it up, you're not going to get the full 100 amp hours out of that battery. Because the BMS that's designed in that battery says, hey, now I need to protect all the cells. And if this cell is low, once it gets down to about 2.5 volts or something like that, the whole battery shuts off, okay? But that cell never gets balanced long term. Now, you're saying every 4 to 5 days, you'll top it off. Okay, every 4 to 5 days is not long term. Okay, so yes, you may be out of balance, day or two to get out of balance, or day or two of being out of balance, and then charge up, right? If you look at your charge profile on your inverter, you have what's called absorption. When we're charging lithium, we have an absorption charge. That's typically once every 7 days, 30 minutes per battery. Okay, so you need 3 hours of top charge once every 7 days. Okay, if we just took the standard math, 3 hours of top charge for your 600 amp hours, 3 hours of top charge every 7 days. Whether that's from the sun, where you have more sun strike coming through your solar panels than your demand, or whether you turn on your generator from time to time or shore power. I would recommend maybe doing that at night for shore power, because depending on where you're at, you may pay less for your watts that you're consuming. Of course, generator, you really don't want to run at night. People don't like that. So it all depends on your long term. And I apologize, this went really long beyond that, but that helps answer that question. If you chose the right batteries, something with active balancing, they will stay more balanced even while you're discharging, right? So if you have that, then long-term consequences won't be that bad. It's just that if you always exceed the demand, or you exceed the supply from your demand, then you won't get the full value of your batteries. In other words, if they're rated at 100 amp hours or total bank, 600 amp hours, you may only get about 500 amp hours. The longer you go, 450, the longer you go without balancing, 400, and so on. So for what it's worth, what I would recommend is from time to time, turn on that generator or, connect to shore power, whichever gives you the best cost-benefit analysis. Top charge those once every 7 days is absolutely okay. And maybe consider, the cost that you're spending on fuel for that generator. What if you put out deployables, right? If you're going to be stationary, I don't know that you are, but if you put out a couple more panels, that will help, exceed, at least get your supply up to meet your demand. So several ways to do that. There's your tech tip. All right, before you get to the bloopers, which is why you're here in the first place, the RV industry needs thousands of RV technicians and inspectors, and now is the perfect time to do that. If you want to make more money or have more control over your time, go ahead and click the link below. Or if you just want to learn how to fix your own RV, got something for you there. Head over to rvtechcourse.com and get started today.
Now for the reason that you're at the end of the video, roll the bloopers.
What if I did that? You try it like this. Sweet baby freezes, kind of like sweet baby Jesus. But can't say Jesus because, well, apparently not allowed to say that anymore. Bam, right? Now a lot of you kind of watching this going, now there's a lot of technical stuff. I don't understand what I'm doing. This is supposed to be free. Here, look, you like questions like that, and if you have questions like that, why don't you come on over to the NRVTA, right? Go to class here, right? I go over some of the most common stuff in class, but this may be the opportunity for you to ask those off-the-wall questions that we get sometimes, right? And I have to think about it. And of course, I don't know all the answers. No one said I did, especially not me. But I do have, a plethora of other instructors that are really good. Might be able to give you the best answers. There you go. Now, get out of here. Go watch something else. Go get some other free shows on and see if they're as good. Peace out, yo.